Assalamu alaikum.
Visit.
Thank you.
Ali Samiq. Ali Samiq, your name is a very specific name, Samiq. It's
Yes,
not an Urdu word. Which language does it belong to?
Arabic.
Arabic. What does it mean?
The exalted one, Buland Martaba.
Buland Martaba. Okay. You got an engineering degree
Yes.
of electrical engineering and minor in marketing. It's a professional education. After getting the professional education in the professional institutions for quite some time, you are trying to change your career to a generalized career. What are the reasons?
First of all, I graduated from LUMS in 2021, and after that, I immediately got a job that was at Israel Corporation, which is a multinational firm. I am currently employed at that firm for the past 2 years, and I see a bright career over there as well. Although I have a bright career, but alongside it, I have always have a fond love for civil service that is inspired from my father and his colleagues. That is why I believe that it is one of the best ways to serve my country. And I believe today I have the time, the money, the energy through which I can serve my people. Although we can join various NGOs, but civil service is a place of authority, a place of power, and a place of profound action, which is why I want to be a part of this service at this point in time.
Okay. Born in Lahore, brought up also at Lahore, and your favorite city is also Lahore. Lahore has been a cultural city from times immemorial. What are the factors making it a cultural city?
There are multiple factors which have led Lahore to become a multicultural cosmopolitan city. Number one is the presence of different religions in the region. It is at the crossroads of India, Pakistan, Sikhism, in Hinduism, and Islam. All three religions have strived in the area. Why? Because of the strong agricultural heritage in the region. There are five rivers, as a result of which we see strong agricultural markets, we see an irrigation network, as a result of which employment opportunities, rice, wheat, cotton, all crops, cash crops are being produced in the area and are being exported from this part to all parts of the world for the past 300 years, even prior to the British era, which clearly shows that Lahore has immense economic importance. Number two, the social importance of Lahore. The social fabric of Lahore is found in its history, that is 4 to 5,000 years ago. We have read an article in Dawn where, under the basement of Badshahi Mosque, we see that remnants of the city have been here for the past many years. The Mughals also have labeled it to be a semi capital for themselves. The historical importance of the region is further attributed because of its geostrategic location. We see that for going towards Afghanistan or Central Asia, Indians have used these routes for the past many years. And similarly, for the Afghan people to move towards the flatlands of Ganga and Indus, they need to cross Lahore. That is why Lahore has been a central trade route, a central social route, a central religious route, which is why it is thriving for the past many years and inshallah will be thriving for the upcoming years.
It has been recognized as such, recognized as a cultural city
Yes.
by an international organization.
Yes.
Which is that organization? Yes. Okay, that's wonderful. Lahore has been the city of Buddhists. It has been the city of Jains also. When was that?
And that was during the Gandhara civilization. I cannot attribute the exact date, but that is some time after the Indus Valley civilization, but quite prior to the Mughal era. Some 2 to 3,000 years ago, we see its unit being in Taxila up till Lahore. When Alexander the Great invaded these areas, the Gandhara civilization was thriving. I do not know the exact date, but 327 BC onwards was an area when we see Buddhists over here.
Okay, okay. You got an outstanding award also.
Yes.
What was that award?
It was the Outstanding Delegate Award at the Model United Nations, Turkey. It was a conference being held in 2020, and I was representing my country, Pakistan, alongside my friends from LUMS. The purpose of the conference was to create social consensus regarding various contiguous issues of the world, that is global warming, and number two are the Middle East situation, that is in light of Israel, Gaza, Iran, and Saudi Arabia. I was a part of the Arab Summit over there, and Alhamdulillah, with the blessings of God, we succeeded in producing very good resolutions. We had delegates from 55 countries. We had to do a lot of diplomacy. We had to pass resolutions. We had to communicate with other people, and we successfully did so. Which is why, after 5 days of contiguous debate, I succeeded in securing the award for my country.
Okay, interesting. In civil services, in the federal services, there are 12 occupational groups.
Yes.
But you have opted for only 5 of those.
Yes.
What are the major reasons?
I believe that my general area of interest is fulfilled in these 5 groups because these 5 groups are the one with the most public interaction. I want to join a group where I interact with the public, I can sort their issues out with transparency and with my full heart and support. That is why PAS, PSP, Pakistan Customs, Inland Revenue, these are my topest priorities for joining civil services.
You did well in Turkey and you didn't opt for foreign service. Why? What are the reasons?
I do not want to leave my country at all. That is why.
Okay. One of your hobbies is singing also.
Yes, sir.
Do you know anything about the famous gharanas of Pakistan who have been into singing for ages now?
Yes, sir. There are 2 main gharanas in Pakistan, both from Indroon Lahore, and I know one which is Sham Charasi Gharana, and the second one is the Amanat Ali family. We see Shafqat Amanat Ali, modern era, from one gharana, and Nusrat Fateh Ali Khan and Rahat Fateh Ali Khan moving out from the second gharana. So these 2 gharanas have been the pioneer of classical music in Pakistan and India for the past many hundreds of years. They started off in the Mughal era when the Mughals gave high patronage to such artists. They used to set up these nights, Qawwali nights and musical nights in Hira Mandi and in Badshahi Mosque neighboring areas. That is why these cultures thrived in that era. And today we see that their remnants are still being loved by the public. Their songs are a hit everywhere across the globe.
Okay, Pakistan is facing a lot of issues also, economic, political, social, and so on and so forth. What do you think are the major issues which have to be faced by the incoming government after the elections?
I believe there is a myriad of issues which the upcoming government will be facing. To list, there are 3 main issues. Number 1 is to create a general consensus for political stability in the country. The public and the government are not on the same page, and this is a crisis for the country. The public needs to have full confidence in the upcoming government, otherwise no issue either in economic or social domain can be sorted out. Number 2 is the economic fallout of our country. We are once again looking forward to a bailout from the IMF, and if we do not get that, the upcoming government fails. And number 3 is a strong, cohesive socio-economic policy which aligns Pakistan's interests with USA, China, Russia, India, alongside strategic security. This one single-lined agenda of developing the country and making it self-dependent alongside good foreign relations is one action which needs to be taken at the earliest.
Caretaker setup has been a unique concept. It is not being practiced in most of the democracies in the world. Why it is being practiced in Pakistan and who brought this concept?
I believe it was brought up by General Ziaul Haq later on after his government, after the RCO. There are 2 main things which is the major reason why caretaker setup is necessary. Number 1, neutral elections. If a single party which is currently in the power conducts the elections, the upcoming government will not have neutral validity. That is why we need a party or we need a group that is the caretaker setup, which ensures that the elections are conducted in a very transparent manner. And number 2, in these 3 months, we cannot leave the statehood empty. Now we see that there is we do not know what is going to be the result of the elections and who comes to power. So there is a gap of these 3 to 4 months which cannot be left alone. Pakistan is a big economy. Pakistan has a huge public aura. We have to sign lots of MOUs. So the absence of a PM in this situation could lead to a lot of problems for the country. These 4 months the PM office cannot be left empty for 4 months. That is why.
Israel-Palestine, the conflict is there. Conflict has been there. The war is going on. And genocide being there as far as Palestine is concerned, hospitals being bombarded and so on and so forth. What are the motives behind this war?
I believe that the motives of Israel are more clearer than ever. That is the genocide of the Palestinians, their extinction, and Israel's total control over Gaza and Palestinian territory, so that there are 2 things: the creation of Greater Israel, and in the later end, the creation of the Temple of Solomon, which is only possible if Jerusalem comes totally under Israeli control. So Israel has both religious, social, and economic motives by killing the Gaza people, by killing Palestinians, so that it can ensure that it has a risk-free country for its personal people and it can do whatever it wants to in their area.
Why is Palestine more important to Israel and to the West as well? Why is Palestine more important?
Yes, there are different reasons for the West and for the Jews, for the Israeli people. For the West, the geostrategic location of Palestine is most important. It is on the crossroads of Europe and Asia, bordered with the Mediterranean Sea. It is a very important choke point and military setup point for the USA, with the presence of Israel for controlling Saudi-Iran relationships and its operations in the Middle East. For Israel itself, it has immense religious importance. They believe that they were the first inhabitants of the land flowing with milk and honey, as told in the Holy Quran, when Hazrat Musa led these people from the Sinai Peninsula into Israel. They believe they have inherited this land from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and they believe that the creation of Temple of Solomon, that is the current Temple Mount, at that point is the holiest site for Jews. So these two reasons make it the lucrative reality for Jews.
How about the oil and gas available in Palestine? G, over to you.
Yes, we see that there are a lot of offshore gas units available in Gaza. We see a report coming by Al Jazeera in the past 3 weeks, and that clearly shows that the US could have motives of pumping that gas out, and Israel has already expressed its interest in the region, which clearly means that it has economic motives.
G, okay, over to you.
Okay. Generally, it's believed that BRICS is dynamic
Yes.
and G20 is speculative. How would you comment on this?
I would agree with this statement. The BRICS, comprising of Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, these 5 countries are all together for economic benefits and economic motives. They are all from the same era of economic livelihood. They are all in the second world countries and are all developing countries. So they have the single point agenda of bolstering more investment and sorting out their similar problems. In contrast, G20 is an elitist organization. All the G20 countries have multi-trillion-dollar economies. They do not face the problems what the third world country does. They do not think what the people from third world countries do. They only think about their personal benefit. They do not believe in investment in other countries. They believe in military engagement and creating a lobby against allies of the West, against enemies of the West. That is Russia, that could be China, that could be Pakistan, that could be Iran, and any other country which does not follow Western liberal democracy.
If in any situation you are made Minister Finance
Yes.
and you have to make a youth-centric policy or youth-centric economy, what salient features would have this policy which you make?
There would be 4 main salient features which my kind of a government would have. Number 1 is the immense investment in IT development. Currently, the world is moving on with IT development, and Pakistan has just a $2.4 billion economy, which is very meager considering the number of computer scientists we are producing. Number 2 is cohesive employment and social opportunities for all genders, for all parts of the society. That could be interior sin, that could be KP. Every woman should have an access to knowledge. That could be via an online platform, that could be e-learning, that could be physical learning, that could be Dastkari Muhim. Through this, we want to empower every woman, every youth-centric girl or boy, wherever they may be. Number 3 is the beginning of public-private partnerships when it comes to universities. The HEC, that is the Higher Education Council or the community, should be hyperactive when it comes to liaising the university students with the ongoing industry demands, so that they can add up to the value in the industries which are following in the country, so that brain drain is condemned. And last but not the least, creating a social and stable political environment in the country so the youth stays in the country. They do not run away, providing them with good salaries based on their skills at the result of good health.
As a student of political science, how would you compare the social contract theory of John Locke and Hobbes?
John Locke and Thomas Hobbes are both social contractualists, and they talk about various factors. Number 1 is the state of nature. John Locke believes that the state of nature of a person is very positive, optimistic. They can survive and thrive together. In contrast, Thomas Hobbes believed that a person is tyrant, brutish, nasty, and selfish in nature, which is why we need a government. Number 2, the condition on which a joint consensus should be made. John Locke talks about liberal democracy. It talks about joining together for securing each other's right, while Thomas Hobbes, the sense of security. So these are some basic differences between the two. The right to revolt, the right of economy, the right to marriage. These are other things which are also featured over here, but these two are most important.
What are the 5 main theories of criminology?
Yes. The 5 main theories of criminology. Number 1 is the classical theory, which
Just name them. This classical
The
one.
classical theory, the biological theory, the psychological theory, the sociological theory, and the critical theory. These 5 theories.
You know, Lombroso
Yes.
is the father of criminology.
Yes.
And he has given a unique concept, phrenology.
Yes.
What's that?
And the theory of phrenology talks about human skull development. There are certain dubs and lubs or certain scars on human skull which depict that a person could be a criminal or he could not be. By scanning or examining a person's skull, we can tell is he a criminal or not. Although it is a very reductionist theory in nature, but it was a groundbreaking theory back in the 19th century and was welcomed by Italians at that time.
Okay. But how it was rejected later on?
The reason was that the skull development of a person is based on his nutrition. It is based on the intake of calcium and milk. So the chances of an African person being a criminal would be high according to this theory. So it was invalidated.
You are a student of US history also.
Yes.
What is Republican Revolution? Gingrich Revolution, it is called.
Yes. The Republican Revolution came up in 1994 and it was a very big revolution because after 40 years we saw a landslide victory of the Republicans in the House of Representatives and the Senate. It clearly showed the rejection of democratic politics by the US people. So there were certain actions undertaken. Number one was there was a paper named by the Republicans. That paper had cohesive economic policy, tax cuts, in the investments in healthcare and welfare. These certain things were quite well accepted by the American people, and we saw a shift in the era of Bill Clinton after the rise of Gingrich.
You have read sociology also?
Yes.
Can you explain the theories of ecological model?
Yes, sir. There are 5 main theories of the ecological model which confine human existence. Number 1 is the microsystem, which talks about peers, family, and friends. Number 2 is the mesosystem, which talks about the interaction of the family, the school teachers, and the people. It is a triangular action. Number 3 is the exosystem. The exosystem talks about the people who are interacting, the mass media, the historical events occurring in that certain area. Number 4 is the macro system, which talks about the cultural norms, values, and religious dogmas existing. And number 5 is the chrono system, which talks about the historical events such as Hiroshima and Nagasaki, mass media events, which have changed human history. That could be a divorce, that could be a marriage occurring in a person's life, how it affects him.
My last question. What was the role of Abraham Lincoln in leading the civil rights movement and ultimately making Emancipation Act also and introducing the Reconstruction era also?
Yes. The role of Abraham Lincoln is groundbreaking when it comes to the US civil rights movement. 1st of January 1863, Abraham Lincoln passed the Emancipation Act under which all slaves in the Confederate States were to be freed. This action was welcomed and unwelcomed, which led to the American Civil War in the later half. But the fact that the US state president has acknowledged the fact that slavery is to be abolished was a big achievement for the people of United States. When the war ended, the Reconstruction era started, under which the emancipation of the United States' different states took place. Economic turnover began to increase and the people began to accept the fact that slavery was indeed against human nature, against human rights.
In LUMS, in addition to electrical engineering,
Yes.
you had minor in marketing.
Yes.
What is the market segmentation theory?
Market segmentation theory, I cannot recall it at the moment.
No issue. Thank you.
Yes, Mr. Samiq. Let me start from a very simple question. What is the contribution of LUMS in our society?
LUMS?
Yes, in our society.
The Lahore University of Management Sciences has a lot to offer and has contributed a lot in the country. It was the pioneer of Sayyid Babar Ali. Seeing to the contribution, the biggest contribution is the students which graduated from LUMS. LUMS has an offer or the process under which 40% students come from lower stratas of the country and 60% are generally from the upper era. So those 40% people who come from different parts of the country, that could be Layya, that could be Gilgit, that could be Khuzar, Turbat, or interior Sindh, if they have a good grade score, they have successfully taken up international level education. And this is the biggest achievement, that LUMS has empowered people from all parts of the world. Number 2, LUMS has linked Pakistani students with the ongoing changing trends of the global world because we see that people search job opportunities abroad, and LUMS has upgraded itself.
All right, Samiq, let me put up the next question. What are the major challenges in agriculture sector of Pakistan?
So there are multiple challenges in the agricultural sector of Pakistan. To label, there could be four. Number one are the land or geographical issues, that is waterlogging and salinity. 24% of agricultural land in Pakistan is marred by waterlogging and salinity due to why the area is unfarmed. Number two, the lack of education and funds and capital for the farmers themselves. With the rise of global markets, we see the concept of high yield varieties, good fertilizers, good maintenance and health standards by the EU, as a result of which our crop, our fruits and vegetables are not up to the mark as they should be for export quality. Number three are the climate change issues, the drought, the lack of rainfall or the sudden advent of rainfall, both of which are damaging to the crops. And last but not the least is the lack of our public awareness as to when we have to stop farming and how we have to maintain our land and soil erosion to control under a certain limit, that the soil does not lose its fertility. It maintains to give good crop over the years with sustainable usage.
Do you think corporate farming is also important? Is it a challenge for us?
It is a challenge because corporate farming comes with cash crop farming, where the land is used to turn into money, that is rice mainly, which are exported $4 billion annually. So that is a challenge.
All right. How do you see economy of Pakistan growing in next, let's say, 5 years?
I am optimistic and positive that hopefully Pakistan's economy will learn, the people of Pakistan, the coalition government which is upcoming will learn from the mistakes it made in the past, and it will stop playing by putting up petty politics and bringing about solid reforms. Our GDP is $364 billion and it is expected to grow to $500 billion in the next 7 years as put up by the World Bank. So if Pakistan gets good economic policies and a stable political setup, that could be a coalition, that could be a unitary government. But if there is stability and the public puts its confidence, so there is no stopping Pakistan from growing to become a better economy.
All right, there are certain terminologies like unipolar, bipolar, multipolar. You think how the world is moving here on politically, and what do you see the influence of such dynamics in future on the world?
I believe that when the USSR collapsed, the world became unipolar. That was the US being the sole superpower governing the world. But today, following 2010, we see the world as multipolar, with China rising from the east, Russia rising from the north. EU is not as submissive as it used to be to the US. The US is a superpower still. So these four powers, similarly India and South Asia, even Pakistan is considered to be a part of the growing superpower era when it comes to the growing east. So we see the world moving towards multipolarity.
How do you see the challenges being faced with particular reference to law and order in Balochistan?
The fact that Turbat did not have elections is an alarm on Pakistan's security situation in Balochistan. The rise of BLP and BNP, the recent attacks of Iran in the area of Kech are depicting that the area of Balochistan is infiltrated by terrorists and separatists, and the government of Pakistan and the armed forces of Pakistan are challenged by the situation. We need to have a strong and stable political government in the Balochistan region so that the people are satisfied, so that BLP and BNP's basic base is cut off. So looking forward to the upcoming government taking good reforms and stances through which we get a solid and strong structurally reformed Balochistan.
What is the difference between a dam and a barrage?
The dam is a water storing unit alongside the creation of electricity. The barrage divides the water river into different canals. The barrage does not produce electricity, it just controls the flow of water by preventing flooding by diverting the flow of water to nearby canals, while the dams is producing electricity and holds a huge reservoir for water.
My last question, tell me just two biggest challenges in education of Pakistan.
Number one, the lack of inclusivity. A school in Punjab is way more beautiful and maintained as a school in interior Sindh or in Balochistan. So the lack of inclusivity, the provision of good facilities to every child is a basic right guaranteed by the constitution.
So Samiq, I just wanted to clarify that point. I couldn't hear it properly. You talked about power and authority as the two aspects which you think were reasons to switch over from your engineering to civil service.
These are one of the many aspects which attract civil service, because this is a place where I can take social action. Social action in Pakistan is not possible without power and authority. If we want to bring about change in public policy, we need to be at a certain level to talk to officials and to talk to the public. We can do civil service, we can do the community service on an NGO based level, but at that point, the only way is financial support. We cannot bring about a change in policy. That is why this service attracts me, for helping and serving my people.
But how would you clarify if I presume that you are power hungry?
I believe that I am not power hungry at all. This is an aspect of the civil service which is very clear for everyone to see. I am just highlighting that this is one of the reasons which makes this service attractive for my personal motive of serving my people.
Do you think Machiavelli or Machiavelli's Prince is still relevant and doable?
It's not doable, it's relevant. We see it being enacted in different places of the world.
It's not doable.
It's not doable. It shouldn't be doable. That could be better.
There are two.
Yeah,
There's
it is
a marked
doable.
difference between the two. Shouldn't, that's an ethical standpoint.
Yes. It is doable and it is relevant in today's era. We see it in various parts of the world. It's in North Korea, it's in India, it's in Russia. And we see that the people coming to the power are coming up from autocratic politics. They believe populism to be a major strife for getting public privilege and public interest in their personal politics. We see Narendra Modi grandiosely opening the Ayodhya temple on 22nd of January. We see North Korean Premier Kim Jong-un bringing about very strict policies in the country just for keeping the country in a strong standpoint. Similarly, the rise of Geert Wilders in Netherlands, who is the outright against Muslim person who is coming up to the power in Netherlands, clearly shows that the global attraction towards Machiavelli's Prince is still dominant, and wherever they get the chance, this happens.
What is the significance of 8th March?
8th of March is the International Women's Day, which is celebrated as the Aurat March in Pakistan.
So in Aurat March, when these, processionists, they raise this slogan, Mera Jism, Meri Marzi. Some quarters, they object to it. What is your opinion about it?
I believe that the slogan in itself has immense moral value and there is nothing wrong with it. But the issue which comes with the word jism, which is currently in our society taken to be very sexual in nature. So this certain slogan, if it is altered by a certain bit, that is could be ke meri ruh, meri marzi, for example, that is one idea. By just changing this word, we will stop offending a lot of the religious strata in the country. Although the word jism has nothing sexual in it, but unfortunately by the language provision, it is taken in that manner. So to create a good image in the public, by diluting the slogan, we can get more coverage and we can really talk about women issues.
John Locke had stated that people have the right to revolt against the established government. In what context? And secondly, do you think this sort of statement instigates people against the established government?
The case and point through which a person can revolt is the lack of provision of rights. The basic purpose why a contract is being withheld or created is the provision of rights. If rights are not provided, they should revolt. And I believe it is not instigating people, but it is telling people that this is one way of going about the situation. Instead of bringing an outright civil war, by putting up slogans, by putting up banners, by blocking certain roads, they can make their voices being heard. And I believe this is a good way if the protests are not violent, if the government deals and negotiates with the public as their own children, as their own people.
He's asking for the revolt. A revolt can't be peaceful.
I believe a revolt can be peaceful if the people are guided. So yes, it can get bloody as well.
Okay. Why do gender differences persist, or I would say, what determines gender-based inequalities?
Could you repeat the question?
What determines gender-based inequalities?
The gender-based inequalities are determined by multiple factors that are economic, social, political in nature. In Pakistan, we see the provision of political quota for women. That is gender inequality. Why should women be given a quota when they can also go for elective election options? The reason are our social norms. In society, we see women are to carry a wheel, women are to walk in a certain manner, they are to take education to a certain level, they have limited job opportunities, which further increases gender inequality. And coming to the economic setup, the provision of employment opportunities to women, the provision of academic opportunities to women are very limited because of the concept of chadar and chardiwari in our country. Although Islam in its nature is very supportive of women earning for themselves. The examples of Hazrat Khadija are very present in front of us. So I believe that these three aspects lead to gender differences.
And even the mindset, because even you are not ready to accept mera jism meri marzi.
Yes.
You are giving the alternative.
Yes.
Right? Okay, one last question. There's a spike in terrorism, especially in Pakistan, in KP and Balochistan. Any 2-3 reasons for that?
Yes, there are 2 to 3 reasons to see. The rise of the TTP in Pakistan. Although the Torkham border has been closed off, but we see during the election era, the spike in TTP funding. This could be an aspect of Indian intervention in the country and the support of the Afghan Taliban. Number 2 is the recent events with BNP and BLP rising up in Balochistan. Because of the lack of political stability in the country, the caretaker setup gave space for these things to rise up, which has led to a rise in terrorism.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Ali Samiq. Ali Samiq, the interview is over. So far, what I have sort of in mind about you is that your confidence level is quite good. You're quite composed also. Good knowledge base also. That is what is required, and that is what is missing in most of the candidates. Okay, good communication skill also. You must use that properly. Okay, not to do or to avoid things, hands movement, which becomes visible, at times becomes violent also. So you have to take care of that. You're well dressed, almost well dressed, but then the color of your necktie should be in contrast to the color of your suit. That will give you a good sort of image. What else? Socks that you're wearing should be of black color or dark blue color. Okay. What else? You've been handling questions very well. Keep doing that with appropriate knowledge, and try to come up with the spirit of the question also. What is required of you, you must come up with that. If a detailed answer is required, then a detailed reply must be given. What else? The last thing, if you get an opportunity, you must talk at length. And then you must stay relevant also. If you talk at length and stay relevant, then you're going to get an edge on others. And if you do not get that opportunity, then you must try to get an opportunity by giving such replies which lead to those kind of opportunities, leading replies, those kind of things. Otherwise, you stand a good chance, and I hope that you must be there with the top ones in the competition. G.
I have already given some opinion, and it's once again I will repeat that your performance has been par excellence, outstanding.
Thank you, sir.
All the candidates I have interviewed, and you are a role model, an example to be emulated upon.
Thank you, sir.
The only thing I would advise, and if you can look into it, if you can speak slightly, you are more fluent on this. Speak slightly slower so that you can, your words are readable to others. That's all. Otherwise, everything is perfect, inshallah.
Thank you, sir.
That's all.
Thank you very much. While agreeing with my two colleagues who have given comments on your performance, I must say your overall performance was very good. You have a pleasant personality. You spoke very well with continuity, and I must say with confidence. That is, I would like to underline rather. And then you are well dressed. I have a few comments on your dress that has already been pointed out also. And then your answers were pretty elaborate, and you have given a lot of material in your answers, and To start with, particularly, your answers were very good. But then at subsequent stage, you started giving sketchy answers. All right? The way you started, that should have continued till end. All right? Now, certain things that you should talk with facts and figures. For example, a question about LUMS, you should have given few figures, some estimates about the number of students who qualified, all right? Yes. And they participated in nation building, maybe certain people abroad, or those who achieved some positions within the country. So that would add value to your answer. And secondly, once you were asked a question about Lahore, you should have given some statisticals about Lahore. For example, the tourist spots, for example, the population of Lahore, yes, to start with, and then adding on population and things like that. Yes. That would have added more value to your answers. All right. Again, I would say at the cost of reputation, as my worthy colleague has said, that you should speak a bit slow, not very slow, a bit slow. Okay, with certain pauses, so that you are understood, yes, by the people to whom you are addressing. Okay. All right, and then you blink your eyes like that unnecessarily. All right, don't do that. Yes. Be just normal, absolutely normal. All right. Now these gestures indicate that you are under some kind of stress, wrinkles on your forehead, and all that. Well, minor things are observed by the people who are sitting on the other side. All right? And then at later part of your interview, to begin with, you're all right. But at later part, you then fix yourself to the member who is asking the question. Okay? Now, your first part was all right. You continue like that. You are answering the question of a particular member. You look at him for more time, and during that, sometime you look towards the other side also, so that they are also engaged. That was the right thing you did in the beginning, but at later stage, then you were fixed somehow on one member. Now I have certain recommendations for you. That is, you should listen to the question and don't give any expression of yes sir or like this, or you listen to the question quietly, calmly, and then start replying straight away. And your reply should be like that, that the first sentence of your reply should be crisp, which should indicate that you know the answer. Yes. And after that, you give an elaborate answer till the time you conclude, or you are interrupted like I interrupted you in the first question. Purposely I did that. I interrupted because I wanted to put some stress on you. All right? And then, as I already said, and my colleagues, speak a bit slow and present a normal face. No wrinkles on the forehead, no blinking of eyes. All right? Yes. And unnecessary movement of hands, as already pointed out. And then tie also. All right, it has already been pointed. I would not repeat those things. The socks also. A tie, I would say, like sir is putting on. All right? Yes. So that would match your age and your appearance and will have a get up on your personality. All right? Thank you, sir.
Samiq, you are very eloquent, I must say. You are smart, you are very knowledgeable, and you're intelligent. You've spoken very well. I just want to build up on the comment given by the honorable panelist about the way you look. To me, it looks like as you giving a patronizing look and bordering on sort of arrogance. I don't know, this is the image I get. And maybe you try to give mathematical answers. Yes, 1, 2, 3, 4. And there's nothing before that, nothing after that. This is the impression we get. Maybe you can add some humbleness maybe these are the answers. It is possible that these are the answers. And especially when the questions are asked where your opinion is sought. In fact, your opinion is not being sought. We just want to know whether you know the answer and you can analyze it well. You don't have to say, no, I don't think so, and I think this is right and this is right. You build your answer in a structured manner, give all the aspects, and then you can say that I think maybe this aspect is better than the other one. So these are 2-3 things, and about the speech pace, they have already told you about that. And that's it. Otherwise, you are wonderful. I hope you'll get through, inshallah.
Wish you good luck.